Hello and welcome to my adult coloring channel, J.I. Colorist. My name is Jody and today is part 3 and the final chapter in a color along in the book by Rita Berman, Land Under the Microscope. We have been working on a bee honeycomb page and this is where we've gotten so far. We've been using Polychromos colored pencils, some Winsor Newton iridescent medium, and whilst the camera was off, I did the little water droplets with some colored pencil and then some glossy accents. So I put glossy accents also on all of the bees' eyes, so they're a little bit shiny. And today we are going to complete the final flower, and this flower is different from the other two, so we're going to color it similar to how I colored this flower here, so very light pink. And then we've got 2 different butterflies left to do, as well as decide on how we're going to do the background, so the areas with nothing colored on it as of yet. So if those are items of interest to you, then please stay tuned and we'll get started. I'm going to turn the book and zoom you in a little bit more and make sure you can see everything. My husband is outside doing some lawn mowing today, so I'm hoping the noise stays relatively quiet. The window is closed. So this flower here, the other flowers we did, this is the similar flower we're going to do. So I've gone for a very light pink, and these flowers over here were more of a magenta purple. So this is very light pink with a darker center, where this had a lighter center and darker out. So we're kind of just switching it up a little bit. So that's what we're going for. The pencils I have in my hand are Derwent Chinese White, a light magenta 119, this is a Polychromos, pink Madder Lake 129, and a fuchsia 125. So I'll put those on screen as well, but we'll get started. So I've also decided that this petal here is a rogue petal, so I'm going to color it the same as this. So I'm not sure where it came from, that petal, but that's what we're going to do. So actually I'll grab a Naples Yellow 185 and I'll just do this inside right now so we don't forget about that. So I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you've enjoyed the first 2 installments of this tutorial. And if you haven't seen them already, the first one was the bees with the wings. The second one was the flowers and the honeycombs. And then this is the 3rd installment. So I'm going to start with a light coating or layer of the 119 light magenta. And we're just going to do the full petal. So I do have my 17-year-old dog sleeping underneath the desk here again, but I did change my oxygen cannula, so should be a little quieter than the last video. So nice and light. And instead of just doing one petal at a time, I'm going to do a few at once. Okay. Now I want if you notice, the edge of this is a little bit pinky cloudy, so I'm going to do the next, which is the pink matter 129, and then we're going to go over that with the Chinese white. And a little bit darker. So always make sure that if you're blending with white, that your tip is cleaned. So that you're not accidentally dragging some foreign pigment onto your page. So the last video I asked about diamond painting and whether or not anybody did it. So I've, if you go back to part 2, still add your comments to that video regarding diamond painting, because I will be checking back there to see what everyone's suggestions and opinions are on it. It took quite a while to get all of the honeycomb sections done on this page. It's very meditative, once you do about 5 or 6, it just, you can almost do it in my sleep at this point. Okay. Speaking of hobbies, are there any other hobbies that people do other than, I do a little bit of watercolor. I'm not great, but I do enjoy trying. I used to do scrapbooking, and I had a big project. I had finished my son's school scrapbooks, so from kindergarten all the way to university graduating. So that project took forever, and I'm done, and I haven't picked up any scrapbooking since then. So I finished that last year. And I need a bit of a sharper pencil. And you've got these really fine areas you need a sharp point to get in. If you have any ideas for videos that you're interested in, haven't seen anybody doing, or you want a technique, or any of the interested in any mediums that I typically use and want to see me using them, just drop a comment on this video and let me know. That'll help me figure out what to do next. I have Graphitint and the Staedtler tinted pencils that I would like to spend some more time on. So if anybody's interested in that, I've been using them in the Mouse Guard book by David Peterson. And if anybody's think you'd be interested in seeing me complete a page in that book, let me know. If anybody has that book and feels like doing a buddy color with me, also if you have Instagram, leave your Instagram name and I'll look you up and we can touch base. So I'm just adding some darker area here, and then I will blend it out. I'm just laying down the dark right now. So heavier pressure at the bottom and feathering up. Thinking of colors for the two butterflies. There's this guy right here, and then the other one. I'm thinking green. So if you remember the colors that I used in the bee's wings, I used light blue, yellow, light green, and light pink. So that's those colors kind of influenced the colors of flowers I was going to use. And I might incorporate them into the butterflies. Okay, now we're going to go back to the lightest pink. And just blending this out. Really light hand. I find that in the Rita Berman books, the lighter you color, the better the pencils take to the paper, because there is tooth to the paper, but it's not a thick. It's not like a Airy book or a Joanna Basford book. The paper is different. Kind of following the lines that are on the flower. A little darker around the area where the lines are, and then fading up. So I hope everybody is doing well, staying creative. Happy to say that I'm cold and flu free, no problems here. It's been a great, I guess, one benefit of staying home most of the time is I've missed out on all of the seasonal ailments, which has been awesome. A little darker here, fading up. I will point out a couple of things that I did to the page off camera so that you know exactly what everything entails to make the page look the way it does. I don't want you to think that, you know, I've done just what I've seen on camera, so I want it to have realistic expectations. I find after you think you've finished coloring a page, it's best to walk away, even if it's just for an hour. Walk away from the page and come back at it with fresh eyes and evaluate whether you are still happy with it being done, or if there's a few areas that need to be darkened up. A little bit of fine tuning. Sometimes it's good just to call it quits though, and you can keep fine tuning something to the point where you actually wreck a page. It's kind of like, quite often when I finish a page and before I do the background, I'll take a picture of it before the background, and then I'll do the background, take another picture, and then sometimes you're really pleased with the background, and other times it's like, glad I have a picture of it before I did that. But that's what experimenting with art is all about. Okay, I'm going to turn the page so that I can look at it this way. Okay, I think I'm going to take the white and just do a little bit of blending where I see a bit of a harsh line. Okay. Pages coming together. A few of you have commented that you've ordered the Winsor Newton iridescent medium, and I look forward to seeing you use it on your pages. Oh, careful. And I'll see it on your completed pages if you do videos, or on your Instagram posts, because I follow a number of you there. So I'm glad I was able to introduce you to a new medium that you can use in your coloring books. Okay, now I'm going to use light yellow ochre just to do the and I'm going to do the top kind of half of that, and then I'm going to switch to raw umber 180 underneath. So these, as I'm coloring, I keep my pencils out, and I've been keeping them in this purple squishy for the most part, and I keep them out so that when I need to use colors on the page, I can reach for colors that I've already used. And that keeps my color palette consistent, and everything just looks a little bit more cohesive. So, and then I'm going to use the Jelly Roll pink, and it is a metallic one, and this is, so this is not a sparkle pop. I was using sparkle pops on the other flowers. Okay, so while this is drying, oh, I will show you some of the other things I did on the page. So I'm going to zoom you back out a bit. Okay, so this is how the page is looking. So after the last video, I completed, like I said, the rest of the items. I also then took a micron black and I went over the legs. So the bee legs where I had done them in pencil, leaving a white line. So I just went over them so it was a little bit sharper. And in fact, I left this one to do with you on camera. So I'll just complete that. So after I go over, like I colored the honeycomb, I went over the legs so they're a little bit cloudy. So I just want to brighten them up with the black. I just want them to stand out. And the micron does not bleed through, and it's also waterproof. So not that I plan on using any water on this page, but even if you spray it with a fixative, if you accidentally spray a bit too much, you can make pens run and other things happen you don't want. So okay. And as I mentioned, I also added the glossy accents to his eyes. So just right on top. And what else did I do? I think that's about it. I just went some of the, you know, once you complete all of the honeycombs, if any looked a little, you know, different, I would go back and touch them up and just kind of deepen up some shadows and stuff. So just kind of looked at the page as a whole and saw what needed to be done. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute while I pick the colors for, we have 2 butterflies to finish, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and my husband has finished his tractor running, so it should be quieter. I have decided to pull the dark Naples Ochre 184, the light phthalo green 162, which have already been used on the page, and I've added now the chrome oxide green 276. And I've also pulled 2 sparkle pop gel pens out, the gold and the green, as well as a green metallic jelly roll. So I pulled those out, and we'll see which ones we go for. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to do this in greens with some yellow / gold highlights. So let's give her a start. So this butterfly is not shaped after any butterfly. I didn't Google him. We're embracing the whole Jody, everything doesn't have to be realistic. So I'm just doing a little bit of shading here. I'm not sure if I will put some transparent or iridescent medium on the wings or not. It'll just depend how it looks after we've colored it. Okay, now just making sure that so this is joined here, so I'm assuming this is also part of the wing. So we'll go with that, but let's color this. So I'm using the lightest green. Going around these little spots that I'll probably use gel pen for, because they're tiny. Do a little bit of shading here. And because it's a butterfly, it'll be the same on both sides. So I always do one side and then immediately do the other side. If I complete a whole side, then I'm, you know, stopping and swapping pencils, and the likelihood of me picking up the wrong pencil and doing something is higher if I do all of one side. So I work both sides at once. And again. Okay, now colors, colors, colors. Let's see. Make this as dark. And I'll do this one here, and then I'll do the center one a different color. To get the deep green, I am doing medium pressure. Okay. Don't want any white of the paper showing through, so okay. And then I'm going to use the dark Naples ochre. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. Okay. Okay. And let's see. So I'm going to do these stripes here in gold. So I might as well put those in now. And I'll also, this is also thin, so I'll do that. Gold as well. Okay. Now for the bottom, I'm going to use the green sparkle pop. Because I don't want gold right close to the honeycomb. I mean, I may have to, but there we go. And I'll do this top area. Sorry if my hand is in the way. Hopefully it isn't. I have the camera filming top down, so. And I'm happy that the table is no longer wobbling, so my camera is also not touching the table, so that hopefully has helped the quality of my videos a little bit. Okay. Now, let's see. I might do yellow along here. And then green here. Okay. Now the center. Dark green, and then yellow. Okay. Now use the Sparkle Pop. I actually think that that is not part of the wing. So this is a wing. And this is the wing. I think that is not. So that will be part of the background under the wings of the butterfly. Okay. At least that's what we're going to do for now. Let's see. I like to look at butterflies, but bugs in general creep me out. So I don't spend an inordinate amount of time outside looking at bugs. Okay. Gold spots. And I did already use black, so I can pull that in, 199. I'm going to use a micron pen for the little antennas because they're so tiny. And I'm going to pull in the dark green here. So it'll be underneath the black, so it'll shine through a little bit. Okay. Now the micron pens. Okay. All right. All right. Just going to color all these. One color, but then I'm going to take brown so this is raw umber 180, and I'm just giving some book is sliding away, sorry about that. Okay, we'll do the same to the Other side. So these are colors that I did use on the honeycomb. So it's, but they're also colors that go well with green. So and I figure the butterfly is hanging out where it can be camouflaged. Okay, brighten that up a little bit, blend it out. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same for these areas here. So I'm going to and then we'll have to decide on what colors to do the other. Thinking some oranges, because I've used orange up here in these flowers. So I'll try and balance my page a bit. Because at the end of your page, you don't want to be, introducing a whole bunch of new colors that are then going to stand out and compete with what you've already done. Okay. Let me take this green and brighten that up a bit. Okay. And let me take a white gel pen and, well, actually I'll just leave that little mark for now, because I'm thinking that maybe for the background we might pull in some new darker browns, Nougat 178 and Burnt Umber 280. So that's what I'm thinking for the back. But let's complete this last butterfly here, and then we'll tackle the background. Okay, let's finish off this last butterfly, and we're going to do it in orange colors, and I'm going to pull the same oranges that I used on the flowers. So up at the top of the page we use these colors here, and I'm just going to bring some continuity to the page by adding those flowers there. I'm actually going to turn this so it doesn't. Okay, so the oranges that I had are dark chromium yellow 109 for the light tone, the mid tone orange glaze 113, and the dark tone scarlet red 118. I'm also going to pull out a orange sparkle pop. So we're in the center, and going to do an overall with the lightest orange. And while I was, it was just a second for you guys, but it's actually been about an hour. I had to offload. Oh, I'm going to close the window. Had to offload a part of the previous filmed footage to make room for more on the camera. So while that was doing it, I actually did some of the background here in the dark brown. So after we're done the butterfly here will continue with the background and finish this page off. I'm just putting down a base layer for this, and then we will add other oranges to jazz it up a bit. But we'll just get a base down. Okay. Actually, I need to turn this way so I can see it. Okay. Okay. Not too worried about if there's white to the paper still showing through, because I can. Now I'm going to take my darkest, so that's the scarlet red, and I'm gonna concentrate it at the very edges, and then just lightly bring it out. And then I'm going to take the mid tone, again starting at the bottom and working out. And I'm going to go to basically a little past where the dots are on here. We'll fade it out. And then to blend it out, I'm going to take the lightest and blend it out. So we have a nice gentle gradient. Okay. And actually we had some, I'm going to pull in the cream that we used earlier, so 102, and it's gonna do the tips here so that they're lighter than the rest. Okay, so I like how that looks, and I'm just gonna do that same thing to the other side. So mid-tone, don't know if I feel like I'm rambling sometimes, so I don't normally talk while I color, so sorry if there's a lot of dead air. Maybe I'll have to write up some questions for next time. I do have to concentrate sometimes, so apologize if this isn't as entertaining as you'd like. Guess I could play music or something, but sometimes that's distracting. Sometimes I'll play music when I'm speeding up footage, but I think we'll just keep it regular. And if you would like to speed up the footage on your own computer settings or your iPad or whatever you watch it on, then that's totally fine. A little bit more darker here. Okay. Do the same down here. But I may extend the darker shade out a bit further. And then come in with the mid-tone. There we go. It's kind of pretty. And the cream, just to keep it light on the edges. Blend it all in. Okay. The center of this, have to think of probably just maybe black and orange. Mid-tone. So my room is extremely quiet right now. My dog has left me to go downstairs, so the husband has stopped mowing the lawn, so all of a sudden it's silent. And my concentrator is off. I've got the oxygen tank here, so it's also silent. So it's kind of strange to be in my art room and having it silent. I'm just hearing myself talk. Okay, I'm getting close. Okay, take this and look at it at a different angle to see what might need to be fine-tuned. I find if you move your book around a bit, you'll see things slightly differently. Okay. And we've got these circles here. I'll have to decide what to do with those. Okay. Let's pull out the black and we'll lightly do this. I'm not going to press super hard, but I will press, do a few more layers along the edges and then leave the center not as dark. Let's see how that looks, and maybe I'll bring in Payne's Gray. Okay. Okay. don't really want him to look like a wasp, but I kind of feel that's what's going to happen, because I'm going to do orange and black stripes. So, okay. So we're going to take the orange sparkle pop. Okay, and we're also going to do some orange sparkle pop on the wing's edge in these little sections here. Hopefully that's, my hand isn't blocking. Looks to be okay in the viewfinder. Okay, I'm going to turn this upside down so I don't drag my hand through the gel pen. That is the nice thing about a book this size, is you can move it around. But I do miss having it not disc bound, because the edges along here, very much a pain to color around. So I'm still thinking about whether or not I should take and have the spine cut off and do this book disc bound or not. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a video on my channel about how and why I disc bind most of my coloring books. Okay. Now, let's see, the center. Let's see. I'm just gonna so just off on the side, doing a section of gold sparkle pop beside orange, just to see how that looks and whether or not that's something I would like there. And I think so. So we're going to go orange sparkle pop in the center circle, and then we're going to do gold, maybe gold, maybe a brown. There's sparkle pop pen, gel pens, or you can't beat them for the sparkle payoff. They're good for accents, that's for sure. Okay, now do I want to do gold? I'll do gold around this one here, and I'll see if I like it. Yep. But I will do brown around that side, and then I'll do gold on the bottom here. Give this a little bit of bling. Since the background is not going to be gold and shiny like the other page I did, this will just add a bit of sparkle and bling. Okay, I am going to take the, I'm actually going to take the black micron. Oh, this looks like dark brown. No, it's black. Since these are so small, these dots, I'll just use the micron pen. And then I can fix the center dots of where over the gel pen. There we go. Fix those up a bit. And I'm going to take the Burnt Umber 280. And I'm going to do the final. And then we will be using Burnt Umber for the background. So this will all tie together. So we're getting close. Okay, sharpen my pencil a bit. Go over this again. So I want to see a lot of white at the page. For the background, we're going to be applying the Burnt Umber, and then I'm going to take some gamsol and blend it in so that we won't have a bunch of splotchy white showing through. Smooth it out a bit. Okay. That is that. I think I need to fix this area a little bit. Okay. Okay. Zoom you out and let you see how the page is looking so far and what we're going to do with the background. So the background, I have selected Burnt Umber 280, and for some larger areas, if I need to go over it with a second color, I've also pulled out Nougat 178. But this is what the page is looking like so far, and our wings give some flash. So on camera, we'll do a little bit of the background, and I'll show you how I'm using the gamsol to blend, and then I'll turn off the camera for a bit, finish it, and then I'll come back with the completed page. I'm going to turn it to the side. So with the sharp pencil, beam you back in. So we're just going to fill in the rest of the page, so the complete background, so anywhere that there's white left over on the page should be not an object, it should be behind all the objects. So if I find something while I'm coloring that doesn't look like background, then I'll reevaluate where those lines are coming from. But for the most part, it's been good. So it helps if you have a sharp pencil when you're dealing with small areas, medium pressure, so I don't have to go over this so many times, and trying to do it also when the lines are horizontal, going back and forth instead of little circles. So between the honeycombs, just straight back and forth. So the in frame. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to get close to the gel pen on the wings and stuff, so just use a sharp pencil and kind of sneak up on it, if that makes sense. Now this is a bit of a bigger area, so I'm going to come back with the nougat and just add another layer, because when I use the gamsol, then it'll come back and kind of, it'll mix those two colors together. So we still set you up a little bit. I think that this brown will really make the honeycomb colors pop. And I think that if I had done it with gold paint, it just, it would have been too much, because there's so many larger areas, like by where this bee is right here. So. We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll switch to using the gamsol in my empty Copic marker. Just so you can understand how I'm accomplishing it. This video is already longer than the first two. Okay, so I'll zoom you out just a little bit. Actually, I'll leave it zoomed in and I'll just move the page. Okay. So always have a spare piece of paper beside me when I'm using the, and I'm going to use the chisel end. Make sure it's clean. So you just rub it off on the paper. And I'm going to simply go over all of the line, all of the areas where I have the brown. And sometimes I just rub it. I don't have a lot of different colors and layers on here, so really you don't have to press hard or use a lot of gamsol. So this is just like using a Derwent blender pen, which I could also use. It's just that these tiny areas here, I'd have to use the small Derwent blender pen, this size, and I find it doesn't work that well for me, so I would rather use this. Now the nice thing about using gamsol is it's not like a blender pen where if you were using these type of blender pens from Caran d'Ache or the Prismacolor, those blender pens use wax to smush down the tooth of the paper. Gamsol is a odorless mineral spirit, and it simply is a solvent, and it basically melts or dissolves the binder in the pencil. So what you're left is with the pigment, and it just is able to seep into the paper without damaging the tooth. A blender pen or pencil damages the tooth of the paper, so you can't go back and put extra layers on. So after I'm done this, if I find that I don't have, there's a light spot that needs more I can always go back if I've used my gamsol. So it's my preferred method. And since I do have obviously breathing issues, I don't, having it in a sealed Copic, like there is no scent, there's no smell, so there's no danger to both my health or my dog's health or anything. So it's a win-win. Okay, so that is what I will keep doing. And so if you look at the difference between a non-blended area and a blended area, you can see that there's quite a bit of white of the paper showing through, and without having to go over this area a bunch of times, I can simply dissolve the pigment, and it's much less work. And this is not a masterpiece that I'm selling or anything. This is a coloring book, so if I don't have to do a whole lot of layers and still get a good result, then that's what I'm going to do. So I'll turn the camera off for now, and I'll come back with the completed page when it's done. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.